Hi folks, we're here. Just checking we've got some screen. Can I see? Can see. Gosh, I need a haircut. That's one of the things that absolutely needs to happen once this lockdown is over. Just takes it with a knife. Who knows? So welcome. Today we're going to be talking all about barbecues, because look at that. You don't usually have this light coming in. Oh, from the outside. Hi there. Hi Jenny. Hi meat chef. Oh, there we go. Something else is dropping on the floor. You don't usually have this light streaming in from the side, but it is way too hot for me to be shutting my window. So you're going to have to cope with the changing light of the changing seasons. Hi there, Ellie. Thanks for joining us today. If you wait for a few more people to join, then we'll get started on some barbecue cocktails. So I've got everything arrayed before me, ready for the great barbecue. Yes, I know, and I wish I was having a barbecue with Ellie and Jenny. That would be great. Hi, Sarah Barker. Hi to you. Hi Victoria, we're here in the boiling hot. Got my door open. It is warm in my kitchen, so hopefully I'm going to make some nice cooling drinks that are going to make me feel a lot better after a long day at work. But folks, I'm being cheeky. I've taken Friday off. I'm having the long weekend for this weekend, so I am ready for these cocktails. Hi there, Sarah Barker at 11. Alright, shall we crack on? Shall we get going? Oh no, I'll give it another minute, let people come in. Only just 5. I was early, wanting to get eager. I'm ready for my after work drinks. Hi there, Leoma Figuera. Welcome. We're going to make some awesome cocktails for the barbecue here. So, right, before we get started, folks, similar thing, I've said it every single time, I'm going to say it again. We're going to do some food preparation. Make sure you wash your hands 20 seconds thoroughly with soap and water. It's really important, even if you're just prepping food for yourself, to make sure that you're maintaining those high hygiene standards. That's even more important when we're thinking about barbecue. So you shouldn't be meeting up with anybody that's not in your household. You need to be maintaining that 2 meter distance as well. We're going to keep people safe and protect the NHS. But you might have a barbecue with yourself, you might have a barbecue with your household. That's awesome. So let's get out there in the sunshine, enjoy it, soak in that vitamin D. But do remember, even when we're in that outside space, we do need to maintain those levels of hygiene. So have a bowl of water or something like that so that you can just keep rinsing your hands, which is great. So we're going to get started. Right, the idea is there. Happy hour. Thank you, Dan. We're going to get started with our drinks. We're going to make 3 drinks today. And the concept drinking behind today's session is all about the lifetime of a barbecue. And I'm going to assume, because you're watching this and you like drinks and you like food and drink, that you're probably the sort of person who ends up gravitating towards the barbecue. So you'll be aware of kind of the life cycle of the barbecue, where those really keen people like me, we go out, it's about 11 a.m, we've got to stake out the best barbecue spot, fight off the other punters, make sure no one takes our barbecue spot. And then we're not using one of these instant light barbecues, no. We're using a proper charcoal one. So we've got to get that lit and we've got to let it go. So you're out there, often your other guests haven't arrived, but it's still hot, you're handing over those hot coals, so you need a drink, but this is the drink for you. It's going to be long, it's going to be cooling, and you're just going to sip at it until the people arrive. And when they do arrive, that's when all the chaos starts. So we need a drink that we can serve lots of people really quickly, keep them all happy, because we haven't got time to be mixing drinks. And then finally, we're going to end with that drink that you can have sitting in the evening once the coals are dying down and there's just the smell of smoke in the air. What's the drink you're going to drink there? Usually, in fact, when all the ice is gone. So we're going to stick to that as well. So, first things first, what is that drink that we're going to have when we are setting up our barbecue? It's maybe you and a couple of other people getting it lit and you're chilling out. Hi to those people who are joining. I hope you're all contemplating some awesome outside eating or barbecues this week. Remember, if you live in a complex, go out somewhere and do it. Don't do it in your complex. Right, also, this was a friend, somebody with Ellie who's watching, she gave me this. I have no idea, I've never drank Pine Creek whiskey, but it's a Pine Creek whiskey tin mug. Lovely mug. I'm not taking glassware outside. I've got lots of lovely glassware. I'm going to take a tin mug, and we're only going to use 1 today. So I'm the barbecue, I'm the pit master. I'm going to have my 1 tin mug, and every drink we're making today can be drank out of this. Also a good tip for hygiene, folks. If you've got your own mug and you keep it there, we're not using single-use plastics because, the planet. So take a tin mug, take a reusable, just keep having drinks in that. So we're not going for fancy glassware today. Right, let's get started. So, first drink, I want it to be cooling, I want it to be refreshing, but I want it to have a bit of a kick. And I'm going to start with whiskey, which might seem a bit of a strange one, because if we're going for a whiskey, you're like, oh, refreshing? But folks, you've got to go for the right one. So this is a lovely glasshouse whiskey. It's a blended whiskey, specifically blended for making long, cool drinks. This one was gifted to me by Glasshouse, wonderful drink. And it really has a lot of orchard fruits. It's a really nice, refreshing drink. So we're going to put a single measure of that in here. Again, another great use for jam jars. Don't take fancy barware out to the barbecue. It's going to get lost. If you lose a jam jar, you just eat more jam, don't you? Hi to those people joining. There's Amy, that's my sister. Hello, Amy. So we're going to take our beautiful glasshouse whiskey here, and we're going to put a single measure in. If you're feeling like you've got a bigger glass, maybe put a double in, but we're going to start with a single of that beautiful glasshouse blended whiskey, perfect for this sort of stuff. Then, and I've used this again, and folks, I am obsessed with this vermouth. It's the discarded vermouth. It's made from the excess fruit from around coffee beans, and I am obsessed with it. I bought it a few weeks ago, and I'm putting in absolutely everything. If you get a cocktail from me, it's going to have this in it. Ellie and Jenny, who are watching, they had 2 cocktails from me yesterday, delivered through their door, nice and socially distant, and they both had these in it. So, I'm going to put half a measure of this vermouth into my whiskey. And now we're going to give that a little sip, just taste it. Oh, lovely. And so what we've got is the lovely kind of smooth but fruity whiskey that we get from that glasshouse, just accentuated by the sweet vermouth. If you can't find this discarded vermouth, use a sweet red vermouth, use a sweet, and that's just a nice rich vermouth. So you've got a measure to a half measure. So if you want to scale that up and go for a longer drink, just put 2 measures of the whiskey in and 1 measure of the vermouth in. So that's lovely. Now, we want a bit more complexity than that. We want it to go a bit longer. So we're going to start with our ice in a cool bag. Ice is going to get to be a resource, but we're going to start. It's our thing. So we're going to take 4 things. So yeah, my mum has just sent a request to be in my live video, and as much as she would want me to say yes to that, we're not going to do it. She's going to stay off the feed, because she'll probably tell me to stop drinking this amount at 5 p.m. So we've got 4 cubes of ice in there, which is lovely. We're not going to put sugar in here, right? So that's the difference between something like a really intense Collins or something like that. If we put sugar in this, it stops being light and refreshing. It's going to be a slightly heavier drink. So we're going to keep it with just the ice, a little bit of sweetness from the vermouth. Then I'm going to take some soda water, a lovely can of soda water, and I'm going to fill up my jug. So I've basically made a whiskey and soda with a bit of vermouth. And that vermouth's just going to add a lovely edge, but we're going to add a few little bits more to this. So about half a can, or one of the small cans. I'm using these big cans today, but you can get the small cans. And again, I've not got any spoons or anything because we're out in the barbecue. Maybe take my knife, just give it a little squish. But I'm lighting things. I've got smoke going on. I can't be faffing around with bar tools. Give that a little sip. Really refreshing. Whiskey, when you put it with that soda water, the effervescence just really brings out a lot of those kind of fruitier flavours that you don't expect. But I want to add some more. So what I've got here is a nice ripe peach. So this goes really well with these sort of lighter blended whiskies. And you wouldn't want to put it with a kind of smoky whiskey at this stage. So I'm just going to take a couple of slices of my peach, just nicely in half. And I'm just going to give them a little squeeze and then drop them in. So just mush them. This is a barbecue. We're not going for graceful. No one's seeing this other than you. So just a little bit in there. I didn't put my apron on today, so I might need to go grab a tea towel because my hands are getting dirty. And there what we get is just a little bit more of that fruitiness, because as it hits the alcohol, the perfume from the peaches comes off. And that's a really nice, relaxed, chilling drink that we're just going to sip along. My mum apparently didn't mean to join, but she we're going to keep her off. My mum would not appreciate this drink. She sometimes drinks wine that's been opened for 2 weeks, and she won't appreciate me telling you all that, but I'm going to anyway. Right, folks, give me 2 seconds. I need to go grab my tea towel. Great, got my tea towel. So, wet wipe, something like that. Make sure you've got things to clean your hands if you're doing any sort of barbecue at the moment. Really important that we're staying safe and staying clean. So, you can change this drink up. I'm a big fan of peaches. I love peaches. But we're really looking at any orchard fruits at all. So if you want to put some slices of apple in here, if you want to put some plums in here, some nectarines, anything that's got a little bit of juice, that you can just kind of slightly mush and put in, but that isn't going to fall apart. And it's just a slight difference to putting citrus in it. So often we put a lemon or a lime into a whiskey and soda, and just to give it that lift. I think just putting these orchard fruits in really helps bring to life those flavours you get in whiskey, which is lovely. But I am going to have to drink this quite fast because I've got my 1 cup. Same as I did with the martinis, it was a terrible idea. Right, so I want to shout out, while I'm finishing my drink, I'm going to eat a bit more of this, what are your favourite drinks to have with a barbecue? What do you usually do? What's your go-tos with a barbecue? And if there's anybody here from outside the UK who isn't just going to shout Pimms at me, although we have got some Pimms, what do you have with your barbecue, and what are you eating at your barbecues? Because what is this all going with? Because right now it's maybe a few bits of salad, some carrot sticks while you're waiting for your meat to cook. What are you having as you go on there? Hi to Jen the cake addict there. Hello to you today. Hi. So what is it that you would like to drink if you're having a Moscow Mule? Moscow Mule is perfect for this, actually. Light drink. Again, fizzy water. That ginger gives it a bit of a lift. Perfect. Now I'm going to eat, and I suggest you do it too. Mojitos, yeah. Hard cider. See, that's a very American concept. A hard cider. We just call it cider. But yeah, perfect, lovely. This could even have a splash of that. You could maybe put the whiskey with a splash of hard cider, and it would again have that beautiful, I think, Aperol Spritz. Yeah, classic. So, similar thing, that vermouthy kind of edgy flavour. We're going to talk a little bit more about spritzes later. Hi to Smith Molly. But yeah, Aperol Spritz, perfect thing. Campari and soda, another one that I would love to have. Made the mistake of putting the peach in the drink, and now I've got to eat it in front of you all. Right. Let's fish it out so I can down this drink. Right. So what's our next drink? What's our next plan? So we've had our relaxing start. Your friends started to turn up. Someone's put some music on. You've started to put the burgers on. How do you make the perfect pina colada? Right. I'm going to say to you, I'm going to admit something to you. I've never made a pina colada because I'm allergic to pineapple. So if I eat it, it makes my mouth swell up. So I've just never bothered to ever make a pina colada. So the perfect pina colada for me is no pina colada. So I'm very sorry. I've let you down. So we've had our relaxing, makes you really want peaches. Go get some peaches. They're lovely. So we've had our relaxing drink. People are starting to turn up. Now it's getting a bit chaotic. We've got burgers going. We've got sausages going. Oh, there's some mac and cheese somewhere. There's some pulled pork going on. What's going on? So we need a drink to give to people. Now, of course, they're going to open beers and things like that. But you want a cocktail. You want to serve something. You do not have time to be mixing drinks. You do not have time to be measuring things out. You don't have time to be shaking and individually garnishing and all that sort of stuff. None of that. You need something that's interesting, but that you can give it. And bottled cocktails are the way to go. And if you're feeling lazy, which is fine, you might want to get some that do exist. So these guys are great. These guys sent me this earlier in the week. Nice Pear Collins. They didn't tell me they were sending it me, so someone just sent me booze anonymously in the post, which is wonderful. So this is a really good example. And a few cocktail companies do this now. And what we're going to talk about now is how to do your own. So this is a Pear Collins. It's a really nice drink. It's got tequila, sherry, pear liqueur, sugar, and lemon bitters. Lovely, lovely, lovely. But you just add a bit of soda water to it. So add the soda water. So you can take this bottle down, and this will do maybe 5-6 drinks. So you can make an even bigger bottle. Then you just keep splashing it out. It also means you can moderate how big and small you want those drinks to be. So it's not always the case that you kind of have to stick to the standard ratios. If you want a little drink or a big one. Ice cold beers, yeah. We've got to have the ice cold beers. No beers here today, but you're going to have a beer on the go with this. This is kind of a chaser. So how are we going to make our bottle cocktail, and what am I going to suggest? So we're not going to take, look at this. I'm going to direct you. Look at all these bottles that are going to go in this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, we'll see. So a ton of bottles. We're not taking those all down to wherever we're having our barbecue. We also don't want to be running in and out of the house. We just want to be able to have a single bottle that we're going to share with everyone. Great. So not everyone wants the same type of mixer, so we're also going to make something that has a bit of flexibility. And it's going to be a big amount here. So I'm going to do it as a single ratios. You can see there's quite a lot in it. You just scale it up if you want more. So we're going to start with the wonderful Pimms cup. Really good base for anything like this. What we're essentially making is a punch. Something with loads of stuff in it, quite high in alcohol, quite sweet, but it's going to please the punters. So we're going to put, as a base to this punch, 3 measures, but remember, you just scale up if you want. 1, 2, 3 measures of our Pimms cup in there. Now, I have to admit, folks, that I didn't get my act together quickly enough today. It's been a busy week at work, so I haven't, sorry Food Tryb, done these recipes yet, but I will get them up on the Food Tryb recipe at some point over the weekend. So, to our 3 measures of Pimms, we're going to add 2 measures of Spotted Elderflower Gordon's Elderflower gin. Now, am I using this because it's exactly the right gin? No. I'm using it because it's a barbecue and I'm making a big punch and I'm not going to use artisanal gin, and this is the gin I had. If you don't have flavoured gin, don't use flavoured gin. If you've got lemon gin, use lemon gin. If you've got pink gin, use pink gin. What we want is gin. That's what we're going for. I went for the one that I had on hand that I'm not going to use. We're going to put 2 measures of that. Hi to those people joining. So 2 measures of the gin into the 3 measures of the Pimms. So you can see this is not a drink for one because it will kill you. And that's one thing I do want to say, folks, is when we are doing barbecuing, there is fire and knives and things, so it's not a time to get really drunk. It's a time to kind of have a nice, relaxing time. So don't get wasted when you're dealing with fire, because it will end badly. Right, so I need to give that a little taste, folks. I forgot my spoon. Entertain yourselves for a second. When you're making a punch like this, keep tasting, keep adjusting. I am literally using what I found around my house, and we're just trying to make something that's quite sweet and has a kick of flavour to it. This is sounding like posh jungle juice. No, we call it a dirty pint, and yes, it's not far off a dirty pint, but it's going to be a pleasant dirty pint. So, we've got 3 measures of Pimms, 2 measures of gin. I've also got some Elderflower Cordial, so we want to kick up the sweetness in this because we're going to dilute it down. So if it's perfect to drink right away, not great because we need to dilute it down. Don't have a jungle juice. No, I've no idea. I'm assuming it's a dirty pint you're talking about because that's what I'm making. Right, so I'm going to put a single measure of Elderflower Cordial in this. It's quite a summery drink, and that's adding a kick of sugar to this. Also adding a kick of sugar to this, we have Curacao or triple sec. It's an orange liqueur. It's what goes in a margarita. It's really good for adding sugar and citrus at the same time. So 1 measure of non-alcoholic Elderflower Cordial, but you could of course put an alcoholic Elderflower liqueur in if you want, and 1 measure of the orange liqueur, the triple sec. You could use Cointreau if you wanted to use Cointreau. Give that a little stir. The eagle-eyed among you will have just noticed that I did double dip this spoon, but I'm the only one who's going to drink this, so that's fine. But in the current climate, please don't do that. Make sure you use a separate spoon if you're tasting twice. Ooh, lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So I've told you before, Pimm's actually base of its drink is orange peel. So orange goes really well with Pimm's. It really brings out something interesting. And what we've got is that deeply floral thing going on with the elderflower and the elderflower gin. I was thinking about putting some peach in it, but I'm going to hold off. I don't think it's necessary. So there we go. So we've got our 3 measures of Pimm's, 2 measures of gin, 1 measure of elderflower cordial, and then a measure of orange liqueur. So quite a lot of alcohol in this, and then just that sugariness. It's a bit sickly sweet. You wouldn't want to drink this in the heat right now, but we're going to dilute it, so that doesn't matter. But what do? We don't want to take this jug down. That's not what we want to do. We want to put it in a bottle. So any bottle will do, folks. Recycle. I've got this lovely bottle of Pinot Noir that I finished off last night. Lovely chilled Pinot Noir. And I'm just going to pour it in. I've sterilised this, so I've poured boiling water into it and then poured the boiling water out just to make sure it's super clean. And then I'm going to pour in my lovely punch. And you'll notice here I haven't put any fruit or anything like that in it. So if you are making up a thing like this, it is nice to you can have some fresh fruit in it. Well, that's what we're going to put in a second. That is nice. It's going to add some dimensions of flavour, but don't put it in the bottle because those will spoil and they'll go a bit nasty. So just the pure, long-keeping alcohol goes into our bottle. So there you go. And then you just Pop a cap back on that, nicely recycled, giving it a second life. Nice thing about that, pop it in the freezer, because we're going to get low on ice, as we've said. Ice is going to be a premium in these hot barbecues. Pop that in the freezer, it's going to be able to go down to below 0 degrees without freezing. Even if it does freeze, who cares, it's going to melt in the heat. But then you're keeping that nice and cold and you'll need less ice to keep it refreshing. So good tip, pop that bottle in the freezer. Not if it's super full, it'll pop off. Leave it a couple of inches. Right, I now need to finish this lovely whiskey and soda. Beautiful. Pretend I did that over an hour and a half while I was lighting the barbecue. Then I say, oh, you come in, you want burgers and stuff. And someone says, Tom, have you got a drink? I go, don't worry, I've got a drink right here. Now, I'm not going to do proper measures. I'm just going to eyeball it. About a measure in here. So about a single. But if I want a double, I'm going to go a double. So about a single has gone in that. Again, handful of ice. See how much ice you've got left. See if you've sent your mates to run to Sainsbury's, who will no doubt be running out of ice, and there'll be queues out the door for the disposable barbecues. So we're going to pop a few more ices in our tin cup. Lovely. So there we go. And then I'm going to be like, now I want to pack this up. So this is where, if you've got some kind of citrus fruits, we can get our citrus fruits. I'm going to take a bit of lime. Going to chop that into nice little chunks, as you might with a Pimms. Now, folks, I've told you before, cucumber has no godly place in any sort of drink. So please don't put cucumber in. I hate it. If you put cucumber in your Pimms, though, we can't be friends, but I'll accept it. And I'm going to put some peach, because I've got some peach. So I'm going to take a nice slice of my peach. Give that a twist. So, just a tip there. Slice down the middle till you get to the heart, then twist. Pops off. And I'm going to put some nice chunks of my peach in there, because, you want something to chew on while you're waiting for your burger. So we've got our measure of Pimms, of punch, we've got our lime, and then you can go for any sort of mixer that you want. Yeah, sorry Jenny, you should be, it's awful. So you could, if you're not wanting to go overly sweet, you could go for the club soda again. Just fill it up with soda. That'll be perfectly lovely, it'll be light, it'll be refreshing, it won't be too sweet. You could go standard Pimms and roller cola style lemonade. Great, it'll be very sweet, it'll be more sangria-like, and it'll have that refreshing tang. Also really great. This will go very well with Coke. We've put those orange flavours in. Elderflower goes weirdly well with Coke. So that'll go. And it's because it'll balance out that Pimmsy. Orange and Coke, not a problem. I actually have something quite fancy, which I've been keeping in the fridge. Bear with me. So I was sent these beautiful sodas. Look at them. Cool! So some nice artisanal sodas. If you've got these kind of around, what's nice about that is if you've got a kind of nice premium non-alcoholic drinks as well, if people don't want to drink, they've got the option to be drinking these as well. So here I have a cola and ginger, and I have a ginger lemonade, which is what I wanted. So I'm going to add a bit of ginger to this one. So I'm going to go for a ginger lemonade, because I want that lemony flavour, but I want to add a bit of gingeriness with the peach and the lime, giving that kind of Moscow Mule sort of vibe. And again, just fill up my little cup. Look at that. Give it a little stir. Perfect. And again, I can modulate that. So if I'm cooking and I think, oh God, that'd be a bit too much alcohol, it's not like a single drink that has to have the right amount. So you can make that a tall, you can make that a short, you can make a double, single, triple, whatever you want. Also keeps your friends happy because they've got different things. And then you're just passing this single bottle around that you've brought with you, and people are filling up the mixers. So you make as much of that as you need to. Maybe make 2 bottles worth, stick them in a cool box, and then everybody is filling up and filling up and filling up as they go. And remember, if there's fruit around, if you've got kind of strawberries in punnets and stuff, get people to add it themselves. Because you put that in a jug, and the fruit will get tired. So that first batch of Pimms you do, when you put the fresh strawberries and orange and all that in it, that looks great, that's wonderful. But it tires out, and that fruit loses some of its flavour and its zest for the second batch and the third batch. Whereas if you get people to add that fruit themselves, then they're going to be happier. Right, cheers. So I'm going to say a look at who's joining us. Hi Tigger, hello Leshka, hi Uki84. We're talking all about barbecue drinks today, so I'm drinking out of a tin cup because we don't want to take glass out to our barbecue. And I'm drinking a glass of my homemade punch here, which was made with Pimms, elderflower gin, with orange liqueur, with some nice elderflower cordial. And then I just paired that up with a lovely ginger lemonade rather than a standard lemonade. But this is also the sort of drink that goes down super easy, exactly what you want in the sunshine. It's not assaulting on the palate, it's a bit sweet, and that ginger lemonade works really well. Ginger beer would work well as well. Goes nicely with those sweet and kind of spicy, hot flavours that you do get with nice barbecue sauce and things like that. And then what you've got is the little bits of peach, pop in your mouth, that kick of sweetness and fruit and acid that's really perfect when you're eating barbecue food. So, we've already heard Aperol Spritz, we've heard cold beers, which is great, not really a cocktail. Mojito, classic, love a mojito. Also something you can make in a batch, which is good. Stick it in a bottle. Because that's the kind of key to this bit of it. When you're serving all the people, when you're the pitmaster and you've got all the burgers going and you've got all that stuff flying around, you want to be able to show off the cooking, but you don't want people to go without a nice drink. So that's why making this bottle option be that buying a bottle option in, nothing wrong with that, folks. Nothing wrong with buying a concentrated one. Or making your own. This is not obviously Mahi Pinot Noir, although a chilled Pinot Noir goes perfectly well with a burger. This is going with our kind of bottled punch that we can then keep. And that'll keep happily in a bottle for as long as any other drink you'd have. As long as you've sterilised that bottle before you popped it in with some boiling water, that'll keep for months and months and months in that bottle. So it can do you for multiple barbecues as well, which is a really good one. So keep shouting at me any of the other drinks that you have. Right. Oh, I'm really enjoying that. There's something about that base that you have the Pimms. So putting those 3 measures of Pimms in to start with just layers down a bunch of nice flavours, and then you can add to it. So if you're not a big fan of elderflower, don't worry about that. Put in some other syrups if you want to put in. I'm trying to think of some other good ones. Ginger cordial is lovely. Apple juice, pop in just that kick of sweetness. And remember, what you're trying to do is add more sweetness than would be pleasant, and then you're watering it down. So there are some people who don't want sweet drinks at all in the heat, it'd be too much for them, they're going to go for the soda water. There's some people who really want that sweetness, pop in Coca-Cola with this, it'll be absolutely fine. Oh, folks, delicious. Right, I'm going to lie to you, I'm going to go get another tin cup, bear with. Luckily, my wonderful friend Ellie got me 2 tin cups when she got me the first one, so I can keep sipping away on this drink while I tell you about our final drink of the day. So, final drink of the day, where do we get to? Well, the sun's starting to set. It's like 11 PM. You've been eating on and off for hours. I have lime cordial, but I'm not sure what to make with it. Alright, before I tell you that, we'll talk about lime cordial. Lime cordial is one of my absolute favourite drinks. Now, I love a lime and soda. If anyone ever charges you more than 30p in a bar for a lime and soda, you're being robbed blind. But lime and soda is a great drink. Similarly, lime soda and whiskey, absolutely cracking drink. It's basically just a whiskey and soda, but you're getting that extra kick of lime, which if you've got a nice whiskey, a light whiskey, nothing smoky, you want a nice Speyside or something quite sweet, that lime will go with it incredibly well. But generally, you can just use it as kind of a lime syrup. So instead of thinking of it as a lime cordial, think of it as a lime syrup. So you can use it to make cheating drinks of things like mojitos. You can use it as a cheat in a gin and tonic even. If you want a kind of sweetened gin and tonic, small dash of those lime, of the lime cordial with the tonic and the gin is going to give you an intense limey gin, which can be lovely and refreshing in the heat and things like that. It goes not horribly in a sangria. If you like a citrusy sangria, you can pop it in there. Or indeed, in the sort of punch that we've just made here, if you wanted to go down more of the citrus route, we went down a kind of floral elderflower and orange route, but you could go down that citrus route, and instead you could maybe use something like a lemon vodka, or you could just put lemons in it, and then add that lime cordial in place of this elderflower cordial, and that would just lift it and make a beautifully citrusy kind of punch. The point with the punch, right, folks, is I went to my cabinet and I got out a random selection of bottles and I worked out kind of what would work. And I've told you about this before. So what I do is I take this is a little tasting glass. I got this when I was in Denmark from a beer tasting, because at beer festivals in Denmark you can only get 10 centilitres of beer. And you carry this round with you and say, can I have a little bit of beer? And they put a little bit of beer in and you taste a little bit of beer. And you don't get wasted at any point, which is very different to a UK beer festival, I can tell you that. But it's very civilised, it's very lovely. What it also is a beautiful, beautiful way of testing cocktails. So we're never drinking very much. So what I did, I'll show you now, before we move on to that drink, and we'll make something different. Let's make a slightly different punch. So what we're going to do, we'll start again with our base of Pimms. Not measuring, we're just going to put a little splash in. Ooh, little splash of Pimms. Right, this time, we're not going to go for the gin. We're going to go crazy. We'll go for the whiskey, because it's here. So not a gin base now. So Pimms, and then we're going to put a splash of our glass house in. Not a lot, not a measure, nothing like that. Now taste. Important to taste. We're inventing in our little class. Okay, it's taking it in a very different direction. It's more savoury, more interesting. So, in that way, I think we're probably going to go and look at this bad boy, our peach liqueur. So I'm going to take the peach liqueur, and I'm going to add a dash of my peach liqueur. Not very much, just a splash. So that's maybe in place of our orange liqueur, because we've gone in that different direction. Give it a little stir and a little taste. Ooh, lovely, lovely, lovely. But it's a bit flat, and I can taste that. It's not in balance yet, and we wouldn't expect it to be. We're splashing random amounts of alcohol into a glass. But what I can tell you is it isn't discordant. That's all I'm looking for right now. Do these flavours kind of go together? Not the exact ratios, that's going to be a bit more experimentation. Just, do the flavours work? So I think it needs a little bit of lightness. Hi, rooms for your services. I think we're probably not going to let you present. So we're going to take a little bit of the beautiful discarded spirits, splash of that in. Again, we're just eyeballing this. Give it a little stir, and then give it a little taste. And it's good. Still a little flat for me though, and that's where I'd be like, okay, now how do I lift it? And I'd think, okay, well, we can pop our lime in there. So when you're trying to invent a drink, it's not the case that you should put tons of expensive alcohol into a single drink and try it. Because if it's pants, you're going to have to chuck it away. Whereas, look, we've used less than a measure there, and I kind of know the direction of my drink from that point. And then I can go, okay, well, I want more of the whiskey flavour, so I'll put more of the whiskey in. I want more of the Pimms flavour, so I'll put more of the Pimms in. And that's how I invent a drink. We use these little things. So always an idea to have a go. So my mum has again requested to be in the video. I'm not quite sure why she keeps requesting. Maybe we'll let her. Who knows? So I'm going to sip of my punch. I'm going to pop that to the side because we're not doing shots on this one. And we're going to talk about our final drink. So, things have chilled out. Some of the friends have gone home. The barbecue has got all that white coal on it and it's gone down to a small knob, and a few people are doing things like putting a little bit of pizza dough on it, or a banana with some chocolate chips. Not me, because bananas are horrible. And they're just kind of, the thing's winding down, and you, the cup, you can back away from that now, relaxed. And you notice, oh, sun's started to go down, there's a chill in the air. Suddenly just wearing a t-shirt and your cap is not quite warm enough, so you huddle closer to the fire, and you realise, gosh, oh, I smell of nothing but wood smoke and meat, which is, of course, my favourite scent, wood smoke and meat. And you need a drink. You have worked hard and you've made a beautiful meal for your friends, and now it's your time to kick back, relax, have a chat, maybe pick a few bits of leftover sausages. What drink do you go for? You think, oh gosh, it's a bit chilly now. And by the way, all the ice is gone and Sainsbury's is shut. So what am I going to drink? Out in the wild. So we're going to return to those nice flavours of the barbecue, and that's going to be our inspiration. So I have made this, and this is, this isn't in a bottle. You could bottle it if you wanted. This is Lapsang Cognac. Now, as after dinner drinks go, cognac is one of the best. So it doesn't have to be expensive cognac because you're going to flavour it. Lapsang is this, Lapsang Souchong Tea. It's super, super cheap for what it gives you. If you want to add smokiness to pretty much anything, Lapsang Souchong will do it. It's a smoked tea. I don't particularly like it as a tea. I wouldn't drink it, but in cocktails I use it all the time. Because what it does is give you a smokiness that isn't like Scotch whiskey. There's a lack of a harshness to it. It's a very sweet smokiness. Great for smoking fish and things like that. So we're going to start with our Lapsang Souchong Cognac. Now, this isn't hard to make. You take 1 teaspoon of Lapsang Souchong tea. You put it into something, a jam jar, a little bottle, whatever it is. Add 150 ml of brandy or cognac. I use cognac, you could just use a standard brandy. Leave it for 2 hours. That's how long this has been left for. I would now strain this off, so after this is over, I will strain it off. If you leave it longer than that, it's going to go bitter. We don't want that. We want to retain a lightness to this, and a sweetness, and a smokiness. We don't want that tannins from the tea. So, we're going to take 2 measures of our smoked cognac. Now, I'm going to have to be very careful. No, I'm getting tea in it, folks, because I didn't strain it beforehand. Because I made it in a rush in my lunch break, instead of doing it in advance. So, 2 measures of our Lapsang Souchong brandy. Now, let's just have a taste. We deserve it. So, we smell it. Ooh, smoke. Smells like me. Smells like the manly musk of barbecue. But it's not acrid. It's a richness. It's a sweet smoke. We give it a taste and we get those caramel sweet notes from the brandy. And in fact, the tea often, if you're using cheap brandy, which by the way I was, it often can smooth out some of those kind of rougher notes that you get from not particularly good brandy. So it's a smooth, sweet flavour. Hi Rowena Ward, hi Justin Lever, hi Danielle, nice to see you. So we've got this nice, smooth, delicious brandy. Now, if you want to drink that, go away. Drink that, it's fine. I'm going to kick it up a little bit because we're still warm. So I also have adding more tea. And by the way, the caffeine in both of these teas is going to come through in this drink. So it's going to keep you going. It's going to give you that energy that you need because you've been on your feet all day. So you can see here, you don't need to use fancy loose leaf tea. That is a green tea bag, although I think this is actually a decaffeinated one, in gin. Now, you don't need to use gin, you can use vodka. We're just trying to get the green tea flavour. Alcohol is really good at taking out the essential oils that are in things like tea. So you get a lot of the really beautiful perfume flavours and it will retain them. Actually better than hot water does. And we're going to put a half measure of this, either vodka or gin, I use gin here, of green tea. And again, put a green tea bag in 150 ml of gin. You can see I've used this on and off for a while, so it's a little bit. And you can leave the green tea bag in this one. So this will actually get better if you leave the tea bag in it. It's going to brew, it's going to stew, and that's what you want. And we're going to go for a half measure of this. Now, the reason we're adding this is for a little bit of floralness, but it's really for a bitterness. So that green tea has that fresh lifting, which is going to mean that without the ice, we do get a bit of freshness to this drink. So again, we're going to give it a little sip. So now, we've got that smokiness, we've got that sweetness, but then we've got this cutting edge of dry bitterness that's coming from our green tea. It's just keeping it a little bit awake We're not sitting down and just drinking a scotch. You can do, but that's not a cocktail. And then, because we're allowed to get a little bit sleepy, and because we've put all that caffeine in it, we want to chill out even more. So we're going to get this stuff. I love this stuff. I talked about it last week. It's peach liqueur. It's really, really lovely stuff. It's not expensive. You can find it in Waitrose and Sainsbury's, all sorts of places. And it's just a delicious, delicious thing. And you'll see I've put peach in all these drinks today because when it's summer and it's sun shining outside, to me that's peaches. We just got to eat peaches until we pop. Peaches and asparagus, that's what we should be eating right now. And we're going to put a half measure of this in. So you can see we could bottle this. We could just make this in advance, pop it in a hip flask, and there you've got it. You know you're ready for it at the end of the day. That's the wrong lid. So, we've got our peach liqueur in there now. Again, give it a little taste. And that's adding back another balance of sweetness. And so we're just sipping on that. It's got a little bit of dryness. Then, again, we're going to take our peach. Now, folks, I don't have a barbecue in front of me. If I did, we'd be doing something slightly different here. I live on the 7th floor, so I'm not going to use a barbecue in my house because I'm not suicidal. So, what we would do is take a little slice of peach, if you're at your barbecue. Now, I did think about getting my blowtorch out and showing it you, but you'll see, folks, this is wooden, and again, not very sensible. So get yourself a nice slice of peach. Pop it on your barbecue. Walk away for a bit, leave it, have a chat. Maybe have a little beer, whatever you want to do. And you're going to grill, and you're going to grill, and that's going to caramelise, and it's going to burn a little bit, and it's going to slowly stew. And then, hot off the barbecue, not with your fingers, because you're not an idiot, take that, plop, into your drink. And that isn't going to immediately quench that heat. And some of the juices are going to leak out, and some of the smokiness is going to leak out, and some of the sugars and the caramelization is going to leak out. You're going to give that a little swirl round, and that's going to pick up the dry, bitter edge from the skin of the peach, that dryness that you get from peach skin. It's going to pick up the smokiness from your barbecue, and it's going to pick up that sweet peach notes from the peach liqueur. And then you take a sip, and you put your feet up, and you chat about the world, and you wait until the sun goes down. And that's your final drink for the day. None of these drinks have names, folks, because they were only invented this afternoon when I remembered that I was doing this. So I'm going to give you a brief run through of what our concept was again, and what our 3 drinks were, and why we did them. And while I'm doing that, if you want to shout out any questions you have, any things you want some advice around barbecue cocktails, or just cocktails in general, or just barbecues in general, why not? I'll answer those as you answer them, and tell me what you're drinking at the moment, what you're having this lovely sunny afternoon. So we started with a drink for getting your barbecue ready, when it's just you, and you've fought off the hordes, and you've lit your barbecue, and you're guarding it carefully. But you're kind of chilling out. You don't want to be getting very drunk. You don't want to be drinking a lot. But you want something. You want something as a reward. And we started there with a beautiful glasshouse whiskey. Whiskey and soda. What we did is a measure of whiskey to half a measure. We used discarded spirits here. This beautiful coffee fruit based vermouth. But you could use just a vermouth rosso, just a sweet red vermouth. And we topped that up with soda water, and then we added some slices of slightly crushed peach, but we could have used nectarine or apple, and it was just a light, refreshing drink that we could have as we were sipping and slowing. It can be a long, long, long drink, and you can keep topping it up with soda water, and eventually all the alcohol will be gone, but you won't notice. So you can do that. That was our first drink as we're relaxing. Our second drink was, everyone's arriving. We've got it here, my Pine Creek tin cup, and we were like, okay, everyone's arriving, I've got to be serving burgers, where's everything going? Oh my god, are we running out of ketchup? What's going on? Hi, Heather. We don't want to be making drinks with that, so we're going to have prepped ahead. We're going to have done a Delia, we're going to have done a Reed Drummond, and we're going to have thought ahead, got ahead, and we're going to have made a bottled cocktail. Now, we might have bought one like these Pear Collins here, like lovely drinks from Swift Bars here, the Pear Collins, or we're going to make our own. And we did make our own. We made a punch. So what we did is we took 3 measures of Pimms. That was the base of our drink. Nice, sweet, floral base. Then we added 2 measures of elderflower gin. Doesn't have to be elderflower gin. Go with whatever you've got in the cupboard. This is a perfect thing to use up odds and sods on your friends at a barbecue. They won't care. It's sunny and you're giving them meat. So 3 measures of Pimms, 2 measures of elderflower gin. Then we put a single measure of the Elderflower Cordial. That was to kick up the sweetness. You could use other cordials if you want. Even lemon barley would work. And then we put a single measure of Curacao or triple sec, which is an orange liqueur, but you could use any orange liqueur you wanted. You could even use other liqueurs if you wanted. So we popped all that, gave it a little bit of a swill round, and then we popped it in our bottle, and that will keep for several months, no problem at all. And what we said is we're going to serve this at our barbecue, so we're going to pop this in the freezer. We're going to let it get down to below 0 degrees, and that way it'll stay colder for longer when you end up at your barbecue, and you don't need to use as much ice, because that's the thing that always runs out at a barbecue. So then you can top that up, and we put in some chopped lime, we put in some beautiful chopped peaches, just to give it a little bit of a crunch and that kind of Pimmsy vibe. It also means people don't get too hungry. Really delicious. I used a lovely ginger lemonade here from Gunner Drinks. But you can use any mix, so that's the thing with these kind of punches. As long as you don't make it too specific, too flavours profile, as long as you kind of give it a little bit of a blend, keep it quite general. You can use lemonade, you can use Coca-Cola, you can use Dr. Pepper might be a stretch, but who knows. Hi there to Felicia, she's joined us. Hi Felicia, one of my Dungeons and Dragons friends, joining us today. So, we had our punch. We've all had our punch. The bottles have run out. The burgers have run out. We've kind of sloped into that bit of the evening where the air's getting cooler. People are drifting off home. They're going getting the last tube or whatever it is. Not at the moment, but hopefully in the future. We've finished all of our drinks. The beers are running out. And you say, don't worry, folks. I've got something in my hip flask that I was thinking of. And we made our beautifully sweet and smoky. I'm going to call it a peach old-fashioned, but I don't think it really is. And this one is really special because you need the barbecue for it to do it properly. So this one is what we did, is we thought ahead and we made our Lapsang Souchong Cognac, which was 150 mils of cognac or brandy with a teaspoon of loose leaf Lapsang Souchong. We're going to leave that for 2 hours, then we're going to strain it out, and that will leave this beautifully sweet cognac. Then, to 2 measures of that, I think, or 1 measure. 1 measure of that. So 1 measure of that. Folks, I've forgotten. That's terrible of me. I think it was 2 measures. So 2 measures of the cognac. We add a half measure of our green tea gin or green tea vodka, whichever you want to make. That was made by just putting a green tea bag in 150 mils of either gin or vodka. I use gin, but vodka works perfectly well. That, you leave the tea bag in. Keep it in. It'll keep for years. And all the tea bag is going to do is keep adding that bitter, dry flavour. So that made us that balance. Then we added a half measure of this beautiful peach liqueur just to kick up the sweetness. And then, this is the key, we take a slice of peach, we put it back on the barbecue, we let it grill, we let it bubble, we let it caramelise, we let it get the smoke and all of that, and then we drop it into our drink, which has no ice in it at all, because who's got ice by 10, 11 p.m. at a barbecue? And you're not getting to Sainsbury's at that point, and you're just going to sit and sip this really nicely and slowly. And remember all the sweetness and the smoke, and think, God, will this smell ever come out of my hair? Who knows? Right, folks, thank you so much for watching. I had a great time doing this. I had a great time drinking these drinks. I'm looking forward to having a barbecue. I'm looking forward to enjoying this sunshine. But I'm going to reiterate what I said at the beginning. Remember, folks, you shouldn't be spending time with people who are outside your household at the moment. You can meet with people, and you must stay 2 meters away. Social distancing is really important. I've told you before about my friend who is a nurse in a coronavirus ward, and she just wants to reiterate to all of you that please maintain the social distancing where you can. It's going to really help the NHS and really save lives at the moment. So it's beautiful outside. Please do, with your household, enjoy a beautiful barbecue, making sure that you stay safe and you stay, if not home, at least 2 meters away from other people in other households, and that will be my special request to you today. So thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the sunshine, enjoy this long weekend, and stay safe, folks.